This is Tokyo Ghoul Part 2. 2014 is the year. And we're just going to hop right into it before we die of heat stroke. Episode 7. Hinami and Kaneki around the corner, because at this point, Fuwaguchi's, where we left off, Fuwaguchi's about to die from Mado. And Kaneki and Hinami are, for some reason, right around the corner, even though we don't see them approach or anything. It just happens. Yeah. So it's just literally Kaneki, in the manga, because we looked this up, the exact shot is Kaneki's like this. In the anime, he physically has to hold her mouth shut and bring her closer. Here's the thing that's dumb about both of them. Why doesn't Mado hear either of them? Because in both of them, they clearly audibly say mother. And get a nice chunk of the audible sound out, and Mado just kind of lets that go.
They all do. There's 4 fucking investigators.
I mean, yeah, no shit.
I questioned it in the manga, and I questioned it in the anime, too.
So then we're at Anteku, and everyone's telling Toka what happened, and Nishio shouldn't be here at this point in time, but we see him there because, you know, the anime.
Minor complaints.
Small gripe.
It's just annoying to see someone in the scene who isn't supposed to be there.
Well, it also kind of goes against his character to be there that quick. He kind of took a lot of time to get over his pride, it felt like, in the manga, and then after that small...
See, that's the big difference. I'm pretty sure the manga would at least somewhat specify or signify that there is a time difference per event, per arc. The anime doesn't do that.
Well, oh yeah, there's plenty of times where shit runs together.
So much shit feels like... Hell, this entire arc just feels like it's all happened in one day.
And then the next one feels like another day. It's weird. That happens on a 13-episode order, I guess. The way that Toka takes that speech, though, that they give her, like, the whole, like, she's dead, blah, 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 and then Toka does the whole with the wall.
Oh, the edgy wall smack.
I went back to check if it was in the manga, because I didn't want to put Sui in that edgy category, but wow, that was, even for this series,
oh, again, to be fair, Toka
she's a teen.
She's the angsty teen character.
It makes sense, but it doesn't mean I want to read it.
I mean, I'm pretty sure at this point she's like, what, 16?
Probably around
She
there.
is that character.
So, this is the thing that really bothers me about Toka with this whole thing. They cut to her in her room on in the legit... Why is this not called the Toka pose?
Because so many characters do it.
Yes, but I'm just stating she is literally almost not, like... Anytime she's not standing, she's doing this. The thing that bothers me about that is she's up in her room doing the Toka pose, and then she physically picks up the rabbit mask.
Yeah, they fucking basically spoil a little surprise that's supposed to happen later.
I mean, granted, I knew in the manga when I was reading it, like, that's fucking Toka. It just makes sense, but
it's just
at the same time...
It's supposed to be a bit of a reveal. You're supposed to be like, who the fuck's this? And then, oh, the mask comes off. Oh, it's Toka. So she was killing investigators like she said she was. In the manga, Kaneki has this scene in the shower where he's in the shower and he's contemplating his own strength, but instead of, like, basically saying the cliche anime, just... I want to get stronger line. He flat out goes with what Kaneki tends to do in the manga. I want to be as strong as Toka. I want to be as strong as my friend. Yeah,
I want to be as strong as...
He makes comparisons to others.
Right.
And he
aspires to be it.
Yeah, and he typically uses other people or his idea of other people as a means of standing strong. And in this, we just get a simple, if only I was stronger line, and then cut.
And I just want to point out that doesn't do Toka any favors because she's very... She isn't stronger than him for much in the series, and that's not very... It's not giving her a fair due at this point in time. So we had these characters, the glasses CCG guy and that other random guy. Kusaba is the one, I believe, with the glasses. And then the other guy who's always hanging out with Amon. In the manga, they're much more fleshed out, and they have, well, not much more, but they're fleshed out. They have something.
They're fleshed out enough for you to know their importance to other characters.
Right, and how they feel about other characters, and to a degree how they touched them. And then the glasses guy dies. Unfortunately, in this, it has no impact because he has legitimately nothing prior in this anime. There was supposed to be some attachment to Amon, you get some attachment to his partner.
There's supposed to be bits here and there showing Amon and him hanging out with these characters.
In fact,
Nothing.
In fact, I'll actually say, when I was reading it, I remember avidly thinking, well, this is slightly boring. I'm not exactly a big fan of this, but it seems like it's going to be important. And then the guy dies, and I'm like, okay, yeah,
it's pretty much
this was worth it. This needed to be there. Then later on, we get Toka attacking Mado, and okay, Pierrot.
Stop. Go out of business.
If you're gonna focus on the big ones, I think it should be a rule at this point. Just focus on those and leave other ones alone. You shouldn't do 13-episode orders if you can't handle it, and this just proved you can't handle it.
Yeah.
Toka attacking him, him as in Mato, and they're fighting, and from random points you'll see it go from nice clean animation to the pain fight. And if you don't know what I mean by that, it's this very thin bordered, quick moving...
Thick color.
Yeah, very thick color and blurry almost in areas, and it's just very harsh and disgusting to look at.
Lots of sloppy fuck-ups.
Proportionally, not correct. Yeah, it's very, very unappealing to look at.
Very crude-looking moments.
So the scene after Kusaba's death, that's still well done, with Amon eating the ramen with the other guy. That's really bad that I don't remember his name. The partner, Kusaba's partner.
Because they mentioned nothing about his...
He's really there just to make you feel bad. He's a depression MacGuffin.
Yeah. Now I have no one to eat with. I have no one to pay for.
And I love the line with Amon, just, okay, you're paying for my meal today. Just know that I eat a lot more than Kusaba. Way to make it a competition with a dead guy, Amon, but I like your style. After we see Amon's training, which I just have to mention, I brought it up to him, and I even had to show him because he didn't remember. There's one random panel where for some reason he becomes the Incredible fucking Hulk. And it's just like, you can't fit in a suit while wearing that. Anyway, back to the anime. I just wanted to bring that up. It's been bothering me since I read it.
Art fuck-ups. They happen.
We end on a setup for the battle of Amon and Kaneki's side. After Amon's training, you see Amon, you see a little bit of the CCG, and then they do the flashes over to Kaneki and his group. And I just like that we're showing all the able parties that are about to partake in this war. And the reason I say war is because it's nothing compared to what happens later.
It's conflict.
Yeah. So we'll move on to episode 8. We see Hinami runs away, setting up the fight. Basically, Toka goes in to check on her, and the window's open, and she's gone. This all happens too fast. We're probably just going to say that a lot, so we'll leave it at that and move on. So Amon, can we just talk about how Amon potentially killed a kid in a ghoul mask?
Yeah.
Granted, he was right. Well, half right.
In the manga, I remember specifically, Amon, you know, Kaneki goes to attack him, and obviously he hits him in the punches. He hits him in the chest, does nothing. Almost just like,
because he decided
lol, get good, faggot.
Because he decided to stop at Walmart to buy his punches on the way there.
At that moment, you know, it's not obvious Kaneki's a ghoul. He's got a regular eye, no Kagune.
The demeanor behind him is nothing like a ghoul.
He's literally just a kid with a mask, and
a timid kid nonetheless.
And then Amon literally gets his Quinke ready to kill the kid, and it's like, you know, you're lucky he's a ghoul, Amon, because it could have just, you know, killed a kid.
Again, this time with Mato and Toka, Part 2, where they fight again, the art hits pain status, and it's specifically twice with these two people.
Yeah.
And to be honest, this is the first, like, legitimate, like, fight we've seen. You're not starting fucking strong. Well, the first Mato, and then this one is the follow-up, so it's like, really? This is what we have to aspire to for the rest of the series. This is what we have to look forward to. Mato shows the scum of humans well. We'll talk about that a lot in the series. They balance it out pretty well. In this case, he's the main antagonist. Well, not main, but yeah, he's kind of the main antagonist of this arc, actually. It's funny because while this is happening, Amon and Kaneki, that's actually pretty faithful. This is paralleling it. They're doing this over here, they're doing this over there.
Yeah. The concept is pretty faithful. They still missed out on the whole get out of here, kid.
Right, no, right. But I'm saying the actual fight between both of them is pretty well done.
Yeah.
Except, and this is the biggest problem, some of the stuff they show with Amon beating on Kaneki, which, by the way, was literally the akin of, I'm gonna go home, and then you don't see it.
Yeah.
First of all, he's hitting Kaneki with blunt objects, and that's not being shown. What, are we going to that degree now? Are we really? How does Hinami cut off Mato's hand? When Mato previously has her wrapped in his, well...
Yeah, he had her wrapped and was like, pound her into the wall.
Yeah.
Rephrase, throwing her into the wall. But, yeah, that didn't make sense because somehow she got out of that and cut off his hand in that time, and then she's suddenly in another spot. She's nowhere in the scene anymore.
That's the thing, is it's literally, last we saw she was being thrown into a wall, the thing was moving, and then she's literally out of it and she cut off his hand.
I don't remember that happening in the manga. I remember Toka being pinned to the wall, and he was going to finish her, and then Hinami got her Kagune because she didn't want to see anyone else die.
We also see her fucking Kagune goes invis for like I'd say a minute or two.
It's transparent.
It's translucent, yeah.
It's like transparent and then it's not. Now,
becomes opaque for 3 minutes, and then boom, back to normal. So we see Mado's wedding ring as he dies. Toka's reaction is pretty well done. I feel personally a little bit underwhelmed while watching this. I could be open to the fact that maybe that's just because the series hasn't sold me on everything else.
Yeah.
But I honestly think the impact... Maybe it's just the single picture and the way that they do it is just a little bit more impactful than the actual experience altogether in this one scenario, because you yourself can fill it in. Maybe that's the case. We'll move on to episode 9. We see Arima in Amon and Mado's backstory, and he's fucking smiling.
Yeah. This is in both the anime and manga, if I recall correctly.
Like, you know the joke, like puppies die every time you masturbate? Yeah. Every time Arima smiles, Cubase die.
Arima doesn't smile. He has very neutral facial expression 99.9% of the time. Seeing him just greeting and smiling at Amon is just really weird. And out of place for what we know.
Dude, he's so what you just said that even his underlings start showing signs of basically not having emotion. So we see Mado talk about his instinct, and Amon doesn't believe him at first, and this is setting up the whole arc that they do really well. Not even gonna lie, I really like how they do this. It's pretty much 1-1. Pretty much 1-1 from the manga. It's almost like a mini arc, though, rather than a backstory. I love how they do this. They show us, like, basically one arc in the span of an episode. Like the whole searching for the ghoul, looking for the chick, confirming it's her, they lied, the setup. It all, the way it plays out is like an arc, but it's in one fucking condensed story. We hear RC cells, which the anime hasn't set up yet. The manga had the RC cell gates, which we entirely skipped in the anime. We didn't have that scene at all, setting up the setup for RC cells.
Yeah, and it was also a moment of, like, showing Kaneki and Toka working together on something.
I also want to point out, you skipped that, which is imperative to understand the anatomy, to put in pointless scenes that we've mentioned before and shit.
The RC gates are something that actually come up much later in the story.
It's understanding how powers work.
They're pretty important to have.
Yeah.
And you kind of just ignored it. And as you pointed out, you know, by missing out on that scene, you also miss out on the whole RC cell explanation. We
see Akira passing Amon at the gravestone, at Mado's gravestone, well, rather on the way to it. I actually really like this move. I think this is smart, setting her up and really getting to see her a little bit. It really cuts both ways. You set her up and you don't do much with her. There's some negatives behind it.
I still like the manga's handling of it with the, he goes there, there's already his flowers there.
Yeah, no, I like that too. But there's just something about having a character completely pop out of nowhere and then having the Sui method of introducing them and being like, they might not be important. They are. It's very Sui of them to do. Both of these lines I'm about to mention are really, really, and down the line, I mean like 100 chapters down the line, really well done foreshadowing here. The line that Amon constantly repeats in these episodes, the fight, even if it costs you your arm or your leg. That's what it means to be an investigator. Oh, it really does. And then the other one is, the day that I'll be known as the Demon Ape will soon be at hand. Demon Ape again will soon be at hand.
Ha ha! Season 2.
So we end setting up Banjo around the right time, but the others not so much. Yamori was already set up too early, Yato is now set up too early, and now Nico is also set up too early. I do want to mention, because I did semi-skip it, so I'll just make it its own point here. It's kind of just not related to the next episode. But before I go any further, I have to mention that the camera work in this is awful.
Yeah.
And for an anime, that's really inexcusable. Anime, you kind of get excused a lot with camera shots. They can be pretty stagnant. You have a lot to work with because you're animating.
Here and there, but it all depends on the style in the scene.
This does not understand centering a shot. That's one of the most basic principles of a shot. You'll have, the point of it is Amon, as I mentioned before, it's a really bad shot. Amon hitting Kaneki in the head with the hammer on the ground. The only thing we see is Kaneki's hand in like this part of the frame. Like right about here. And then this, all this, is just the floor. Well, we move on to episode 10. Banjo shows up at Anteku to question about Rize. It's well done, and it's pretty much like the manga. The whole him showing up with the 3 people, questioning what happened with Rize. Are you going to tell me what happened? For his own good, he doesn't tell him. Should we open that can of worms?
A little bit of a setting difference at one point.
No, right. But should we open the can of worms there about him being a good guy for not telling him?
Oh.
Hey, maybe a controversial opinion, maybe not. I just want to say, that doesn't make you a good guy. That makes you an asshole. This is my personal opinion. You're an asshole. Because he needed to hear that. He would be endlessly searching for someone who doesn't well, quote-unquote, doesn't exist
anymore.
Yamori and Ayato show up. Less fighting, different setting. Things are different in this. Toka had a little more with this in the manga.
With what?
When Yamori and Ayato show up.
Oh,
They cut out a little bit of the fight beforehand. They a little bit of the banter. They did this a little differently. As I said, as he said, the setting is different.
I'm positive this all happens in the upstairs room.
Speaking of room, good segue. They show the room's reaction to his overt cavemanish behavior when he just loses it.
I like that.
I really like that.
They added that in, I think. I'm pretty sure.
He goes overboard and it shows everybody. His side.
Everyone's reaction to
his side, their side, everyone.
And it just shows that everyone except Nico is thoroughly disgusted at what Yamori's doing.
Yeah, touche. Shinohara and Amon mention Juzo and Jason in the same sentence. They're literally... I'm just saying, that cannot be coincidence. Good on them for actually tying that into a point then where it actually fucking not only fits with what they're doing, which isn't necessarily the best thing, but it fits with what they're doing and also sets up the Suzuya, Juzo, and him meeting later.
Yeah.
So good on you when you're doing it. We get...
Except for the problem where it didn't happen in the first season.
Well, no, it happened. You're right.
People had to wait to see it, so they probably forgot about that.
We get another amazing Tsukiyama walk into the end of the episode freeze frame moments. They end on them planning to rescue Kaneki, the Tsukiyama reveal. They Barbosa'd us. This is Barbo saying, "You're gonna need help. What's become of me ship? And by ship I mean where I put me penis." Moving on to episode 11. We start with the Bean Brothers versus Amon, and we ended with Tsukiyama entering Anteiku and their plan.
I know it's probably Bean, but I've always just said Bin Brothers.
Oh, does
I don't know, because it's just the word Bin.
Well, honestly, they're trash, so you might as well put them out to the curb.
Exactly.
Yeah, and we ended with Tsukiyama and Anteiku, and now we're starting with the middle/ending of this episode, towards, like, 2/3 in. What are we, fucking Memento? What's happening? We also cut straight to Kaneki being tortured with no context. Last we found out he was being carried there, and none of the seeing how Aogiri tries to divvy him up. Oh, I'm gonna take him. No, Ayato. No, that whole thing happens. But no, none of that.
Yeah, none.
Just wakes up being tortured. The whole stuff with with Banjo and Kaneki versus the Bean Brothers. Yeah, none of that.
It's all jarring.
After the planning scene, they literally do the, okay, and break! And then we cut to something else for like 2 minutes, and then we go back, and then they're all sitting there again. Waiting for Yoshimura to, like, come out of the bathroom.
Yeah, not a
not literally, but what the fuck? What? Are we doing 2 breaks? Did we literally just do 2 breaks? And now we're ready.
Yeah. Well, it's like, wait, what's the fucking point?
Make up your fucking mind! Shinohara tells Amon Jason's backstory instead of Jason basically saying it to Kaneki.
Yeah.
They have, like, this weird moment where they're breaking it down, and I don't remember that happening in the manga. It does make you understand Yamori a little more, his backstory, so it's great that they do that. And again, it might seem a little bit anime to have the main character, or the main character have something narrated in mid-battle about his past.
Yeah.
But, it's a give and take on this one. It might be a little jarring for people who liked it a certain way, and it does seem more impactful to have Yamori actually open up about it to someone. But on the other hand, it is a little more realistic to have the CCG who had him in prison and knew about him to be rifling off this information, so... The scene of Juzo stealing the bike is translated perfectly for fucking Marude.
Yeah, I still love that scene.
Funny and badass, and I actually think it might translate better visually to see in animation format.
Fun little trivia fact, both the Seiyu and the
American voice actor.
US voice actor.
Yep.
Both of them shared both Juzo voice and Al from Full Metal Alchemist.
So we see Nishio take some bullets, or the equivalent crystals, whatever you want to fucking Superman me. I don't know, whatever. Fucking, he takes some bullets for Toka, and I don't get why he doesn't Piccolo. It's the Piccolo situation with Gohan.
Die!
I could probably...
Wait, I could probably just grab him.
Nah,
dive out of the way.
Instead, I'm gonna take bullets. This is literally just so we could incapacitate Nishio here.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, didn't seem like that was enough of a shot to incapacitate. Whatever, I don't care. DBZ logic bullshit. We have a great hype shot of Kyoryu Sentai Shinohara. Literally, the squad.
The fucking squad, including Amon.
And then we see the owl, which was nicely
Special
pleased.
Investigator Squad plus Amon.
It's actually nicely teased having the owl pop up before through. You see Amon sees his shadow.
After dealing with the Bin brothers, you see Yoshimura's silhouette, but it looked kind of silly because he had no reaction to it.
It's an actually exciting thing to see the CCG squad, the Shinohara squad, and the owl, and you're getting pumped. Or at least I am. I'm getting pumped. I'm watching this. I'm like, yeah, this is kind of semi-cultivating the feeling I had with shit like this in the manga. Fuck yeah! And then we end on a weird, non-centered shot of Kaneki's white hair, which, by the way, does not appear in the next episode until 18 minutes and 35 fucking seconds in. So you compromised my excitement and hype for potentially a small little tidbit that like almost like an Easter egg for me to get excited for, which I would only know if I watched or read the manga. Read the manga. And it's funny because you pissed on anyone who read the manga at this point. So fuck you. We'll move on to episode 12. We start by explaining Yamori and Kaneki's torture. Basically the sevens, the fingers cutting off the toes, the bucket. I wish they focused a little more on that. I completely understand why they didn't in this scenario, because this is... censorship-wise, this is brutal to get around, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But out of all the brutalities and disgusting deeds that was done upon Kaneki, I think the worst thing that I got from that scene is, and above all else, I realized I was a monster. Him, like, completely giving up, like, realizing he is legitimately 100% defeated as far as humanity. He is pretty much 100% a ghoul. And it's just the most depressing fucking point in the series for me. Then Rize, when she should finally fucking show up, because this would be the first point she should show up in the manga, pops in for the mother talk.
As you yourself stated,
technically
the second point. Right. But this is where Rize re-enters the story, technically, in the manga. Showing
the difference of kindness and stupidity with his mother. Rize, that whole thing of, your mother basically worked herself to death because her aunt was basically a selfish bitch, and...
Yeah, they completely,
well, that all worked, but they skipped Kaneki moving in with her. Yeah. They did kind of portray her aunt a little more viciously in the manga rather than the anime.
Yeah, like, my mom gave my aunt money, but they didn't touch on how long Kaneki moved in with his aunt after his mom died. And really how it started nice at first, but over time his aunt became annoyed by him because pretty much she was jealous that her sister's son was better than her own son.
I think I remember one of my favorite shots, and this could just be my mind being stupid, but...
It got to the point where they weren't even celebrating his birthday or some shit, right?
No, I was thinking the food dish.
That was it, the food dish.
It was, like, really large, and he would get a lot of food, and it's like...
Then just nothing.
Time, it was like less rice, less food, and then eventually it was just a small bowl of rice. I do think that, what they show in the anime is handled well, and I think that it is handled well in both mediums. Getting that stupidity and kindness are two different things. You being weak and not being able to say no, and putting other people above you and your own well-being and your family's own well-being, honestly, not the smartest thing. You're kind of being stupid.
Yeah.
You should take care of you, and then if you have extra, by all means. But don't work 3 jobs, including one at home, working yourself to death.
And then still give your sister money when you have a child to take care of.
That's what I was just going to say, and then you leave your child after you die from exhaustion. He breaks out and fights Yamori in a somewhat decent fight, probably one of the better things they translated. He fights against Yamori in the chains, breaks them, takes a chunk out of him, which that's unintelligible, didn't seem to take a bite. So I'm hop on him like Gollum. By the way, what the fuck's with the manicure pedicure situation? You don't need to go to the salon, you can just kill your friends.
Yeah. Yeah, you could.
Permanent black nails.
It's just one of those quirks in the series.
But, yeah. The way they end this of Kaneki, I'm gonna eat you, and you just... It's so in your face, kind of cheesy. Gulp. Yeah, the black screen gulp. I don't like this at all.
And then nothing.
This just seems so try-hard. It seems so cliche, and it also doesn't make sense to end here. This isn't the end of this arc. Kaneki has ramifications in this arc going onward for a while.
You cliffhangered for a finale.
But more importantly, that's not even a good point to end it, because the torture is the point of what happens there, not him beating Yamori. The battle isn't over. Moving on from that, if you can, click the description below, see what we're doing next week. It's going to be Tokyo Ghoul Part 3.
Rude! No.
If you can, like and subscribe, leave a comment. Go ahead and suggest an anime or cartoon you want to see us do. We're trying to open up more comments, more vocal fan base. We're not getting that. Comment whatever you want.
Oh shit!
Heartbreak.
No kidding.